Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. Here in today's video, I am briefly going over my top recommendations for champions in the newest Battlegrounds season, Season 28. The newest season just started today on April 30th, and I had a subscriber who requested that I share my advice or my recommendations on the meta champions for this new season, both in the Victory Track and the Gladiator Circuit. This time around in Season 28, both of the Victory Track and the Grandmaster Circuits are pretty similar, so luckily you can use sort of the same Battlegrounds deck and the same champions in both. We'll try to keep this video pretty brief. If you are new around here and want to see more Contest of Champions content, make sure that you subscribe and turn on notifications. So looking at the nodes for this Battleground season, in the Victory Track, we have nodes that focus on mystic attackers and defenders that gain a lot of buffs. So when I think about this, normally I think cosmic defenders who gain a lot of buffs. There are other defenders outside of the cosmic class who get a lot of buffs, which would also be good for this season. But if we look at just a couple of these buffs, what we're focusing on, when mystic attackers activate a striker, they steal 30% of the defender's max power. At the same time, while your striker is active, the defender will not be gaining any power either, which is really nice. Another thing to look out for, once the attacker reaches 1 bar of power, so when your champion reaches a bar of power, the defender will gain a power gain buff that grants them 100% of a bar of power over 4 seconds. That's a lot of power gain, so you need to pay attention to that and make sure that you don't push them too far when it comes to power. The third buff that the defender will receive, for each buff the defender has gained during the fight, they receive a power charge. And if they reach 8 power charges, then they're going to gain a power efficiency passive for 7 seconds. And then also during that time, the defender will not be able to be nullified or staggered when it comes to their buffs. If we look at the first and second week of the Gladiator Circuit, we see that all of the buffs are exactly the same as the Victory Track, except for one buff, which is the Feat of Indestructible 2. And this one is simply when the attacker reaches 2 bars of power, so when your champion reaches 2 bars, the defender will gain an indestructible buff for 5 seconds. So you need to remember this, because if you are trying to push to a special 2, and if you throw it right away as soon as you reach 2 bars of power, then the defender won't be taking any damage if they've got the indestructible buff. Make sure that you have a way to nullify or stagger that buff if you want to throw a special 2 right after gaining the 2 bars of power. And for week 3 and 4 of the Gladiator Circuit, we do have some different nodes. They're a little bit similar. So the first one here, when the defender gains a buff, they also gain a 10% energized buff for 12 seconds. So anytime the defender is gaining buffs, they'll also gain energized buffs, which just increases the amount of power that they will gain from any sources. The second buff is the Stunning Reflection. Basically, if you attempt to stun the defender while they have the stun shield active, then the stun will be reflected onto you and your champion will be stunned. You can disable this shield and put it on cooldown by inflicting the defender with bleed or shock debuffs. And once you inflict one of those, the shield will be on cooldown for 8 seconds. And the third buff for the final weeks of Gladiator Circuit is But a Minor Setback, which makes the attacker immune to armor break and nullify immune. You can disable this immunity for 15 seconds just by knocking the defender down. Looking at the champions that I recommend for both offense and defense this season, I really recommend a lot of these strong mystic champions that are able to nullify or stagger the opponent. Some of those here we have are Black Widow Clairvoyant, Dr. Doom, Dr. Voodoo, Ebony Maw, Isaphine, Juggernaut, Kushala, Longshot, Purgatory, Shathra, Symbiote Supreme, and Wiccan. Those are my recommendations. There are, of course, more champions than these, but these are some of the top champions that I would recommend just having in your Battlegrounds deck throughout this season. Also, don't forget that if you do have these champions in your Battlegrounds deck, that you equip a Mystic Relic to them. Because with the first buff here, the only way for you to steal the defender's power with this buff is if you use a Mystic Striker. And that will also briefly pause the defender's power gain, which will help you to just control the power that they're gaining throughout the fight. When it comes to defenders that I recommend this season, a lot of the strong cosmics that gain buffs and that are just annoying to fight are ones that I recommend. Some of those are Annihilus, Galen, Gladiator, Gore, Hulkling, Icarus, Maestro, Medusa, Nova, Super Skrull, the Serpent, Vision Arcus, Circe, and Deathless Thanos. These are all champions that gain, at least some sort of buffs throughout the fight, and they will benefit from gaining those buffs and the increased power gain. Remember that any defender, even outside of the Cosmic class, that gains a lot of buffs will be pretty good this season, so look around, see if there's any other defenders that you might want to add to your Battlegrounds deck. If this video helped you at all, please consider leaving a like, and let me know what attackers and defenders are you looking forward to using this Battleground season. Let me know too what you think about the new Battlegrounds changes, especially with the new Radiant store. Are you excited about it? Are you going to be spending more time in Battleground season? Let me know down in the comments. Once again, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss my future content. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you later.